I'm Lisa, and I'm here for a little small talk today with Cantor Rosalie Boxt, who currently serves as the cantor of Temple Emanuel, a Reformed congregation in Kensington, Maryland. Welcome, Cantor Boxt.
Thanks for having me. Hi, Lisa.
Thanks for being here, because you are someone who's had a very large role in Jewish music across the country in your role as a cantor, and somebody who seems to take interest in music personally. I understand you've been in charge of organizing large citywide events in your community, and you've been a song leader. I understand Hava Nashira and Kutz camps and Nifty camps. I'd love to hear more about what inspires you to do what you do.
Sure. Well, one of the reasons I became a cantor was primarily through my involvement in youth group and in Jewish camping and in the music of community. So my background was not so much in performance music or art music. I didn't have much classical voice training, but as a song leader for many, many years at camp. And for a while I was a professional song leader. So, paid to do the work. And in my role as cantor, when I came to realize that there was such a wonderful history of Jewish music and such a beautiful contribution that cantors can make in the life of the congregation, and decided to pursue this, a large focus of my cantorate is still on congregational, not just congregational music, but on congregational engagement, ways that we can help people feel more connected to the divine, but also more connected to each other. So a lot of the work I do is about creating communities and creating groups of people who feel good about being together in the context of worship or music in their synagogue. So what I still do now is I go to camp almost every summer, either as visiting faculty or I just visit as many camps as I can. As you mentioned, I teach at Hava Nashira, a sort of song leading workshop. I've been privileged to be on faculty there for many years, mostly working with our high school and young college age camp song leaders, but as well as working with soloists and other music educators on song leading skills, on song leading from the Bima, on teaching congregations and congregational leaders how to get congregations to sing and how to involve them in singing.
Given what you've just said about the people trying to find meaning in their worship services and trying to help people get to that place, the cantorial profession's been around a long time. It seems like we've sort of come a long way from the times of Richard Tucker. What's it like to be a cantor in the year 2011? And were people talking about this issue way back in the day? What sort of things sort of remain the same, and what's different today?
I do think that cantors and synagogue leaders were always talking about how to make worship meaningful. I'm sure it was on the minds of all of my colleagues of all generations and all ages. The question was how to meet the people where they are and what would be resonant to the people. And I think that has changed. What our people are looking for when they're in congregations, or frankly not coming to congregations. What are people looking for in their lives? What ways are they looking for to find meaning? I think that everybody wants meaning. Everybody wants to feel like they're not alone in the world. Everybody wants to know that somebody cares about them. The question is, how do we provide the environment for people to acknowledge that, and then to find those relationships? And for some, it's in the congregation, and for some, it isn't. I think cantors have always wanted to bring worship and prayer to the congregation, but I think as the congregation's needs have changed, ours have had to as well. So cantors now are very much engaged in the conversation of what is meaningful worship, and there's no one answer. I mean, even for me, there's no single answer. In my congregation, many people want to participate. Many people, it's meaningful to be inspired and awed by a sense of the greatness of the universe and a sense of being one small part of it. There's so many textures and varieties, but most of my colleagues are very seriously engaged in those conversations and in experimenting with and working with their congregations to provide lots of different ways in the door, recognizing that different people will respond differently. So I think what's similar through the ages in terms of the changing cantorate, the similarities is a lot of the repertoire and a real desire on the part of the clergy and the leadership to express the tefillah in a way that's meaningful, that has integrity, and that also speaks to the people. And the question is now, what really speaks to our people? And there's no definitive answer, but each of us sort of tries to find our own way through that.
Hold on. Let's talk a little bit about Debbie Friedman. As we all know, the global Jewish community suffered a tremendous loss when we lost her back in January. A Jewish music icon, composer, had 22 albums, music that people probably don't even know was hers.
Yep.
In synagogue services, at camp gatherings, and Jewish community gatherings. I think of like Misha Berach and Lech Lecha and Osei Shalom and Miriam's song. It sort of just goes on and on and on and on. So think about how many people were really thousands and thousands and thousands of people who've been inspired by her music. I know you had a special relationship with her, and I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about her and really how communities around the world are sort of dealing with how to honor her memory and what's happening sort of going forward.
What's interesting about Debbie and her music is, like many people, I knew, the music before I knew her. I remember being at camp. The first songs I learned at camp as a 9 and 10-year-old were Debbie's songs. And when I became a song leader, I learned her songs to teach them. I have a friend who's in rabbinical school now, a song leader, who said to me the other day, she said, the first Debbie Friedman song I learned was Out of Your Mouth at camp. And the idea that this repertoire was a part of who we were. It was like the fabric of our lives, and we sort of had no idea. Kids don't pay attention to who writes which songs. We just, looking back on it, the number of songs and the moments I can remember standing in the dining room at camp, or the songs that changed my life, were hers. And then only later, as I began to teach at Hava Nashira, we had met a few times, but we really become close friends. The faculty at Hava Nashira varies in size, but it's about 12 or 13 people, and about 10 of us have been together for almost 10 years. And it's a very special family. And she and I, as well as many others who attend, became very close. She became as much of a teacher and a mentor as a friend. She always pushed me to not just be a better cantor and be a better teacher, but to give more of myself to my community, to really not be afraid of letting people in, of showing myself and who I really was. She also was very attentive to the importance of people just loving one another and just being open and trusting, and of finding ways to heal people's pain just through relationships and just through care and love. And I remember sometimes I would be leading something, and she'd sort of stand behind me and lean forward and whispered in my ear, to let the congregation give me something as well. She'd say they want to love you, or they want to take care of you. You have to let them. I mean, that there has to be a relationship between a leader and the community enough that there's real give and take, that people want to feel loved, but they also want to care about other people, and there's such an innate desire to do that. So that's one of the things I learned from Debbie. And her sense of humor was, unmatched by anyone else's. She was crazy and kooky and wonderful, and so it's a big loss, for the community, and for me personally, and for many of my friends. It's sort of hard to imagine, really, that she's gone. And her music, still resonates and will continue to resonate. I think most communities are trying to find ways to infuse her music into our lives. And music shouldn't become a memorial to her, but just should continue to do what she wanted it to do, which is teach text, bring people together, create in people a sense of love and harmony that hopefully will, be eternal in some way.
Well, thank you again for your time, Cantor Boxt. It sounds like you're going to have a wonderful weekend when you are here, and you all can meet and experience Cantor Boxt music and teachings during an inspirational weekend of Jewish music, which is March 11th through 13th at Congregation Beth Shalom of Brandon. For more information, you can call 813-681-6547. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time.
This is Lisa, and this has been a production of Let My People Grow, an outreach and engagement initiative.